kick it off, my friend.
Absolutely. All right, Don. Everybody, thank you very much for your time. And you folks are in for a treat because we are going to cover some very important information here. You're going to get some golden nuggets on how the Chamber of Commerce can actually grow in 2022 using immersive virtual reality technologies. So with that being said, I definitely want to get Mr. Don LaPlante on the floor here so he can kick off the slide presentation. So Don, the floor is all yours, good sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Robert. And we are sharing the presentation. Am I correct?
Yes, we are, good sir.
All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you again for everybody being here. This is an exciting time. It's been a challenging time these past couple of years, especially for groups like FSB and the Chamber of Commerce. And as we look at organizations around the globe that really do what you do, really helping businesses, helping organizations, and really communities to market themselves and to grow, there's been many challenges. And those challenges were because most of what we've done as chambers and as organizations has been together with others. We've been with people, right? We do a business after hours, a business before hours, or educational workshops. We do a lunch and learn, and all these different things that the chambers and the FSB organization would be part of and actually lead for a community. We haven't been able to have those, or if we have, they've been on a platform kind of like this, which is Zoom, and it's a flat platform. It's two-dimensional, and you don't get a ton of engagement. Now here, we're gonna have a lot of fun and we're gonna have a lot of engagement in this particular meeting because that's what we do. But for the most part, it's just not as advantageous as actually being in person. I think we can all agree on that. And the goal of this meeting here today is really to help the Chambers of Commerce and FSB and other organizations that are similar to really rocket not just their membership in 2022 and beyond, but really make a difference in their communities and for the businesses and organizations that they serve. So that's what this is really all about. So I hope you stay with us through the whole time. This is only going to be about 30 minutes. And then from there, you'll have a way to really move your organization forward. And that's what we want to do. So yeah, let's go right to that next slide. Okay, well, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Don LaPlante. I am the president and CEO of Rhino XR Studios. And I own a couple of other companies as well, a marketing company called Marketing and Communication Systems. I also own a publishing and training company called Lasting Impact Media. And I've been working with VR and XR, which is really extended reality. And I've been working with that because that is where business is going. That's where life, in a way, is going. All right, we're going to be working, I think it was Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook fame, all right, now known as Meta, actually, where he was talking about 5 years from now or so, everybody's all the offices that are out there, a lot of those offices are going to be in virtual experiences. And when you shop, shopping is going to change. Everything is about to change. But yet most businesses aren't prepared for this. And this is really a great place for the chamber to really, and FSB to really stand up and say, hey, we can help you get ready. We can help you to prosper. Because this meeting isn't, it's really designed to help chambers and the FSB organization. But quite frankly, in the end, what it's really doing is it's helping businesses, organizations, and communities, because those are the ones that you impact, okay? So I am, by the way, I'm a past president of the Chamber of Commerce in Claremont, New Hampshire. I've been on the board of multiple chambers of commerce. So I have experienced some of the pains of growth and the challenges that chambers do have just in as they're growing and as they're trying to serve their members. And so that's really where a lot of this came from when we were thinking about how do we want to create a program that would really help the chambers And so I look back at history and I said, all right, what is it that we can really do to make a difference? Because you know this, but not enough businesses today know this. Chambers, the FSB organization in the UK, and other organizations like yours are crucial to communities. And I can't emphasize that enough. You're crucial to communities. They need you. So we need you to grow and be able to serve them and help them. So I also want to introduce, actually, a gentleman who introduced me at the very beginning, Mr. Robert Carlisle. He's actually known as DNA Elite in the metaverse, in virtual reality. And you'll hear a little bit about that later on. But he is the CTO of Rhino XR Studios, and he is a world and avatar creator in the virtual realm, or the metaverse, as it's called. So getting right into this, challenges facing chambers today. First of all, in the past 2 years, just look at your chamber, your FSB organization, and say, hey, wait a minute, have we lost members as a result of COVID? Have we lost revenue? And I would almost bet that the answer is yes. And has it been more difficult bringing in new members? Same thing. I mean, first of all, you've got a lot of members that have gone out of business. Years ago in my marketing company, we had a ton of restaurants that were clients of ours. And in 2020, we lost some of them. I mean, just that one specific type of business really got harmed. A lot of the smaller local retail businesses really got harmed. And so those are businesses that are either no longer there or have been severely affected and maybe not renewing memberships. Okay, certainly if they're not there, they're not renewing memberships, right? And then the challenge of making chamber member services and network opportunities, making those available for members. Think about that. If you're going to do a business after hours, a meeting, a networking meeting, bringing people together, but yet you're not allowed to come together, what does that do? Well, it shuts down that meeting, right? And you can't get that same type of camaraderie, that socialization inside of Zoom. And that's why it really has impacted how chambers and organizations like yours can grow. So we can go to the next slide, please, Robert. And so how do we overcome some of these challenges? Challenges like isolation, members struggling at closing, like I was just talking about, the fear of potential lockdowns. Depending on where in the world you are, we're hearing that, some areas are lightening up, other areas, well, maybe they might be locking down again, or you never know. Who knows what's really going to happen in each specific pocket or area? What we do know is that we must move on. We must grow. All right. If you're not growing, you're dying. So we have to take this all to the next level. And how do we go about doing that? Well, we go about doing that by overcoming all of these. And by the way, also the boredom of Zoom squares. Like I said, this is going to be entertaining, so we're going to keep you focused. But you can't do long meetings in Zoom and expect everybody to be there. And it's very difficult to interact. Even in breakout rooms, it's a little bit different. So we want to give you a better way. So your chamber and FSB organization, you can change how business and your community grows. And you're going to do this by a special program that we've created for your organization. Go to that next slide, please, Robert. And really, when you're thinking about how you serve members, how you help them, how you serve your community. I have been part of several different chamber organizations throughout my years in business. And in all cases, the chamber is very well tied in with the municipalities that it serves, right? So yes, it's serving businesses, it's serving organizations, nonprofits in the area, but it is also serving the community, the citizens of the community, and the municipalities. And so how can we make a community that can be together, can socialize even when it's difficult? How can we meet? How can we train people? How can we do different types of things that really will help us grow and benefit everybody around us? Well, one way is in virtual reality. Now, you might be thinking, well, isn't that sort of like a glorified Zoom? Because, it looks it looks interesting. It looks a little bit different, but isn't it the same thing? It isn't. Here's the reason why. All right. On Zoom, like right now, you're able to see me and hear me, and you can see what's happening on screen, all right, on the picture that's on the screen, but that's it. You are wherever it is that you are, whether you're in Great Britain, whether you're in Oregon, whether you're in Africa. It doesn't matter where you are when you're on this call, or when you're on this Zoom, you're just in that location. When you work with virtual reality, it's a whole different realm. All right? I guess that's probably the easiest way to say it. Because literally what happens is that you come together with people. When you look at this image, for instance, you see a person in front of a video screen on the image to the right. On the left is a person up on stage in front of the video screen. It actually happens to be the same person. By the way, that's DNA Elite. That's Robert Carlyle. He was doing a presentation. But with these rooms, you're actually in the room. You could walk up to DNA, he could walk up to you, and you could both talk. You can communicate. Well, you could communicate with 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 or 50 different people all around you. You can move around. You can, the two of you could break off from the group, walk and talk as you're walking around a lake. You're literally together in a space, even though you might be halfway across the globe. And so it's a whole different experience, but it's not even like Zoom on steroids. It's really like being there, all right, except you don't have to travel. So if there are ever lockdowns, then you have the opportunity to do this. Also, just thinking about safety, and some people don't go to networking meetings, even though they'd really like to, and even though they're permissible in your area. And they don't go because maybe they're a little bit concerned. Maybe they have some other challenges and they're concerned with health. So how do they get involved? Well, they're sort of left out in the dark right now. But with a system like this, no, they don't have to be, because they can be part of what is happening live. So you can have a true hybrid event where people can actually be together. And there's no other way to do this. I mean, this is the way to grow. So we can go to that next slide, please. So think about this: creating an experience that engages people, that's exciting, that's different, that's very cost effective, that's fun, and especially that's safe. And it can't be locked down. They can't take that away. Nobody can take that away from you, because you have that access. And all of your members can have that access. You can come together and you can meet, you can talk, you can mastermind, you can strategize, you can train, all of those things, and you can do it in a very fun way. All right. So it's really a great thing to be able to do. So I wanted to give you an idea of how we're working with different types of businesses in the metaverse now. So one is with storefronts, virtual storefronts. Here's what's happening. And a lot of businesses don't even know that this is happening, but this is happening right now. And you can look at where the money is flowing from all of the tech companies. It is flowing into virtual reality, augmented reality. It's flowing into the metaverse. And why is that? Because that is Web 3.0. That's where everything is going. That's where business is going. And I want to take you back in time for a minute. I want to take you back to when it was when the internet first came out, and people talked about having a website, right? And most businesses were like, that's just a fad. I don't need a website. It's going to go away, whatever. I like dealing with people in person. And what happened? Next thing you know, the web is everywhere. Everybody's on the web. And Google becomes a verb. It's not just a name anymore. It's a verb. People, I'm going to go Google it. I'm going to go find out about this. There's nothing that you can't learn about these days that's known that you can't find on the internet. It's crazy how much is there. So it's all a part of our life. But from the internet, what happened? Then we went to mobile phones, smartphones that were able to deliver a mobile presence. And if your business was not mobile optimized, if your website was not mobile optimized, it didn't work. And I don't know, I think it's over, I know it's over 40% of all web visits today are on a mobile device. So think about that. Almost half of all web visits are on a mobile device. And that number is steadily climbing. So what happens if your website isn't mobile optimized? Well, you're shutting out half the potential business you could be getting from that. But let's take this to the next level, because what happened just before 2020, so many businesses, all the big tech companies and all of the big retail companies, they were all on e-commerce. I mean, you can think of the Amazons of the world and the Walmarts of the world. Of course, they had the money to put in. They created a huge e-commerce presence. And what did that do? That insulated them from what happened with COVID. And they skyrocketed. They grew massively because all of the retail business that was being done locally, all of our buy local campaigns and everything that was driving business locally went away because people couldn't shop in those places, but yet they had to get stuff. So what did they do? They went to the Amazons of the world. They went to Walmarts and all the other large retail organizations. And that was at the expense of our communities, at the expense of our community businesses, our local businesses. All right. And that was horrible. But if those businesses were already in e-commerce and already had a presence that was well known in the community, that would not have been an issue. So they missed out on that opportunity. And so we want to help insulate them. But here's the next phase, because most businesses aren't even really there yet in e-commerce, but we're about to just run right past it and go into v-commerce. So virtual commerce, commerce through virtual reality. That's why if you have been watching the tech companies, like Facebook as an example, several years ago, Facebook bought a company called Oculus. And when they bought Oculus, it was a goggle, a VR goggle manufacturer, right? And that company last year sold over 10 million sets of goggles. Think about that number. Most people are like, VR, that's just for gaming. No, it really is not. There's so much more to it. And so it's growing. But not only did they buy that goggle company, they actually, last year, they started to launch something called Horizon, all right, which is now, it's out there. Horizon is their virtual reality platform. And they also launched last year, before they launched the virtual reality platform, they launched avatars. All right, you might remember all of those sort of characters that were on Facebook. You might have even made one, right? And those characters are avatars. They wanted to get you used to the concept of an avatar. And then I think it was about a week after they released avatars, they released Facebook Shopping. So do those tie in? Well, yeah, you bet they do. They have a master plan. And the plan is v-commerce, virtual commerce. So what does that really mean? That means being in a virtual experience, whether you're working or you're going through and you're going for some sort of entertainment, let's say a concert or something like that. You can't meet in public, but you can meet at a virtual concert, actually be there with friends, see a live event, right? But then you want to be able to purchase. How do you purchase inside of an experience like that? Well, wouldn't it be great if you had a restaurant that could actually deliver to your house, but you were ordering it right there? Wouldn't it be great if you could actually order items right there while you're watching the event? Maybe you're watching a training event or speakers, or it's a sales event for a company. All of those things, Facebook knows they're going to happen, and they're positioning themselves. They will take that business if we don't bring it to a local level. And that's where this is all going. We, really as a team, we need to bring this to a local level and help local businesses, help our communities. We know that 3 times more money stays in our local communities when the money is spent at a locally owned, family-owned business. It's just what happens. The money stays with us. All right. It doesn't go to some corporation thousands of miles away. That's important. You know, you might have, maybe your children played baseball or basketball or some other sport, and when they're playing, they're actually playing, and they're being coached by a friend who actually owns one of the local retail stores, one of the local restaurants, right? That happens all the time. These are people we know. We need to help, all right? And we can make a difference. So how does the Chamber of Commerce support its members and community? All right. So how can we bring all of this stuff together and make this work? So providing educational opportunities for your members. All right. We're actually going to help you with that by providing educational sources so that your members can learn how to cost effectively bring their businesses into a virtual reality platform and be able to be v-commerce ready and actually drive business today in virtual commerce. You actually need a safe place to collaborate and meet. All right, so that way, no matter what happens, if you can all meet in person, that's fantastic. But if there are people who can't make it there, or something changes and we're not able to again, or it's in a particular area where you just can't, we need a solution. We can never, ever be stuck behind closed doors again. We need to be able to be together. And this positions everybody for that. You are the leadership in your community, and you want to think about how to help the community grow. And I love this part, really. Think about bridging history in the future. One of the things that we help you to do is when you're creating when we create the virtual platform for your community, because that's really what we're going to do. All right. When we do that for your community, what happens is we're going to be able to show not just how to be part of e-commerce and how to grow and protect your businesses and organizations, but we're actually going to be able to share the history of your community, share the history of the people from your community, and really make it so things are never, ever forgotten. All right. There's some incredible buildings probably in your town or city that might have been lost to fire or were torn down because of lack of funding. Those can actually be restored in a virtual realm and actually be available for people to always have access to. There's so many different ways to help. We're going to talk about different growth initiatives, and really this is key: the ability to drive a truly effective ongoing shop local campaign, because we need to drive business local, right? And we can do that now. So if you'll go to that next slide, please, Robert. We're just about finished here on the key stuff. So how does a chamber get started? How do we learn more about this whole process? How does FSB learn about this process and really figure out how we want to take it to market? How do we want to take it to our members, right? And we made this very simple. First of all, we're going to set your Chamber of Commerce or your FSB office, your chapter up with a free office in the metaverse and a free conference area. So it's not going to cost you anything. This is not to sell you anything. This is really because this has to happen. We have to protect each other and help each community grow. So we're going to provide that for you. Number two is we're going to take and get your chamber, the Chamber Networking Center. That'll all be put together. But number three is really inviting your members to learn. All right, we'll put on the events for you. We're going to train them on what is coming. All right, really alerting them to what's coming. And you can see it. If you take the time and you look at what's happening in business, you can see these things aren't going that way. And the large money, certainly in the United States and in other parts of the world, it's going here. So there's no doubt that this is going to happen, and it's happening rapidly right underneath our eyes, right before our eyes. So we must be prepared for it. So we're going to teach business owners and managers how to protect their business and grow there. And when we do, any of those businesses or community organizations that say, hey, you're right, we need to go into this realm. We need to be able to put this together, and we need to protect ourselves and grow, and especially grow local. For those, when they come on board, there's actually a small revenue stream from that. I shouldn't say small, it could be a very large revenue stream over time, because it's a monthly revenue stream that's going to go right to your chamber. So this is not only free to your Chamber of Commerce or your FSB group, but it's also a revenue stream for you. And all you need to do to get started is just book a virtual tour with the person who invited you to this webinar, and let them know, hey, look, I don't know, I've never been in virtual reality, but I want to understand this. Can you take me in? And they'll arrange a tour for you. You can ask all the questions that you like, all right, no pressure. And then once you do explore the community and explore what can be done, then that ambassador will be able to help you get set up, so you have your office set up in virtual reality and you have your conference room. And then we'll organize the events from there. All right, so that's really it. I thank you all for being here, and please reach out to the person who invited you here and make sure you at the very least get that tour. When you see how business can be done, what we're doing with restaurants and how we're protecting restaurants will amaze you. And what we're doing for retail, it is going to change business. And we cannot wait to share it. So thank you for being here, and we will see you hopefully very soon in the metaverse. Take care, all. Okay, so you can stop the recording, and I'll open this up for any questions.